Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Vanguard Tactics. I'm your host, Stephen Box, and if you are interested, should I say, in competitive Warhammer 40k, then you're in the right place, because that is exactly what we talk about on this show, is the most optimal builds you can put in place, the most efficient strategies that you can use, some advanced tactics, so that you can win the game in the right way rather than just trying to win at all costs. We're not all about that here. So I'm here to answer all of your 40k related questions. Every single day during this lockdown, I go live at 6 p.m, thereabouts, unless I do what I did today and forgot that the lead I put in my car came to put it online. I was like, can't attach the camera to the computer, we have a problem. So because I've been out and about today, so I can tell you about what I've been up to. Can't tell you everything because some of it is, top secret, but some things I can tell you, which is very, very exciting. I'll tell you what, I'll start with that now. So what I've been up to today is, as you guys may know, my new studio is at Foreground Publishing. Okay, now Foreground Publishing make the most incredible terrain for 40k out of MDF, and the reason why it's so good is because it is already pre-painted. So if you are a competitive player and you want to get great looking terrain to the tabletop very quickly, then their terrain range is fantastic. Okay, and it's extremely rewarding to build. They have a premium range, and then I am working on another range. Okay, so I'm very excited about that. So you guys will hear about that very soon. So that's one thing. But the reason why I went there today was because I have been filming and producing content because they make personal protective equipment in which they then give away for free to the police service, the NHS, care homes, support workers, you name it. These guys are doing everything they can. I think they're shipping out about 2,500 pieces of PPE every single day, completely for free, just to help against this fight against COVID-19. So what I've been doing is putting together a short film from the problem to the idea to the product to then distribution, so that they can do some crowdfunding to help them support this problem. It's extremely difficult to get the acetate that they use in the visors. That's what it's going to be doing, so that they can crowdfund, and that's why I went out today. I had to go over the first draft, and I've got to cut some things out that weren't correct or need to change, and that's what I've been doing today, basically. I'm doing it voluntary. I'm not getting paid for it or anything. I'm just doing it in my spare hours, which I try and find amongst doing all this. So no doubt after I've spoke to all you guys, I will be doing some more editing, or I'll be editing over the weekend to get this short film done. So that's what I've been up to today, basically. Anyway, so I am going to answer your questions. Let's dive into the chat. Right, okay. So Jack, how you doing? Greetings. Thomas, how you doing? From Kansas, how you doing? Oh, nice. Primali, evening, sir. How you doing? I'm doing very, very well. Very well. Yep, doing all good. Stephen Carpenter, how are you doing, buddy? Joaquin, how are you doing? Matthew C. RK McKee Reptiles, how are you doing, mate? Andy, rules question. Okay, here we go. Rules question. 2 days ago, you were talking about how the ability to fight when you're not on the same level. How do you play this when it isn't written anywhere? Okay, so this is normally a tournament FAQ. Okay, so if you make your charge, you basically make it. So you have to roll the distance, but yeah, that's pretty much how it's done in tournaments. Okay, so it's not written anywhere in the rules book, but it's just one of those things that's commonly played in most. Now, it's not going to be done at all tournaments because some TOs, you know, they'll only go by what is written in the rule book. Okay, whereas something like the WTC have their own FAQ because they want to make sure it is the fairest game possible. So they take it to that next level, okay? Because what they understand is that, you know, like here's the thing. If, let's say you and I are playing, okay? And I'm assuming you, because if you're following me, you probably know that I'm against people that try and win at all costs, who want to play that way, you know. So you're probably not watching this channel if you're like that, because if you do, you probably don't like me, and that's fine. So I'm assuming when I say you're a decent guy, okay, or girl, whatever, you know. But guy typically is my main audience is primarily guys. I'd love it if it's a 50-50 mix and all that, but unfortunately it's not. Just that's the reality of it. So anyway, let's say you and I, we're having a nice game, okay? You know, and I've got some Blood Angels at the bottom floor of the ruin, and you've got that Devastator squad at the top. And I'm like, cool. And let's say there's a little bit of, you know, a few little gaps here and there. And you fully well know that it would be silly if I couldn't get up there and I was just stuck at the bottom like this. And you're just firing las cannons down at me. And I'm just like, okay, well, this is a fun game because I can't even do anything. You're going to be a decent person and you're going to be like, Steve, carry on, roll your charge, and we'll just say you're up there, okay? Because that's exactly what I would do the other way around. Like if I wasn't playing my Blood Angels and I was playing my, I don't know, whatever army have I got, Ultramarines that are a bit more shooty, and you want to charge me your Gene Stealer cult, I'll be like, absolutely, we'll just say they're up there. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about moving your models because they might fall off, and, you know, don't try and balance them. If you make the charge, you're up there. We can resolve combat. You know, you and I would have a decent game, okay? GW perceive us to play like this, right? Yeah, cool, you're in. Yeah, that's it. Let's have a scrap. Let's get the chainswords out, rock swords, whatever. Let's have a go at it. However, there are those people that say, well, technically, you know, if I completely fill out this whole area, then you can't charge me. So there. And the competitive scene has gone, no, we're not having that. Because GW do not assume you're going to be like that. But unfortunately, if you are trying to abuse a rule, then that is why people like the WTC will go, no, if you make the charge, you can make it. So yeah, that's kind of how it is done. Because I think if you were having, let's say it's your mate that constantly does that and he's that type of player, then you're probably not going to play him much longer unless he's the only person you know that plays 40k. But you're probably going to find another set of friends that play in the same way that as you and I have just discussed. That so if you agree with me, let me know. Just put I agree. If you disagree, then just put I disagree. And I'd love to hear your because I'm not right, by the way. I'm not always right. You know, that is my opinion. Everyone is entitled to their opinion. And I want this, you know, this forum to be a place where you can share your opinion freely. And I'm more than happy to ever debate anybody in a very, what's the word, like kind of respectful way. And I think that's really important. So if you feel like, you know, I'm wrong, then just say, and just tell me why. And I'll talk about it, you know. And I will try and put on another hat and look at it from a different angle. Okay, so that's my feelings on that anyway. So yeah, Andy, it completely depends on the tournament you go to, essentially. So evening, Stephen, or from Waz, how you doing? Andy, is there a limit on the height difference? How does it work in a 3-inch ruin versus, and how many can fight? So it'd literally just be, I think it's normally the bottom level can fight. Yeah. So it doesn't matter how high, as long as you make that charge roll. So if it's 5 inches up, as long as you roll a 5 to get you hypothetically within an inch, then the bottom level can fight. Yeah. Hi, dude. I'd have to read the WTC FAQ to know exactly what it is if it came up, but normally it doesn't really come up that often because you'll find that top players don't really use the sort of top levels of ruins that often. And also what they've said is coherency works for a long distance down as long as you're within 2 inches wide. I remember being in a captain's meeting where we had a big discussion about how it would work, because some of their L shapes were really, really high. Henrik, how you doing? So we've got another question here from Yaha. Hi, dude. Hope you're doing well. For a new player, how do you feel about buying armies on eBay to save some money? Well, I mean, look, if it's a way for you to get into the hobby and start to enjoy it, then I'm all for it, really. And then, you know, if you want to then expand your collection later on, then absolutely fantastic. So, yeah, I mean, that's, yeah, I don't see anything wrong with buying secondhand models or whatever, you know, crack on. The best thing I would just go for is like built. You need to look at how they're built on eBay. And that's the problem when you do buy from eBay, is that they're often built the wrong way. They have the wrong weapons on there that you don't want. Maybe they've just been painted really badly and then just sprayed black, and you get them, you're like, ugh, gross. So, yeah. But that being said, if you can, make sure you are supporting your local gaming store, because keeping those stores open is incredibly important when you want to come to play. If everyone just bought all their models on eBay, then we wouldn't have a hobby. So just bear that in mind. Again, it's your own personal. I think the guys at GW, like I know some of the general managers at some of the stores, and they put their heart and soul into that. They really do. So it's important that we try and keep those stores open along with your local, you know, friendly gaming store as well, because that's probably where you'll be doing RTTs, or you'll be meeting up to play, and, you know, playing with the army is just as important as buying, you know, cheaper models or whatever, if that's what you. So yeah, just bear that in mind. Okay, do what you can to keep the support, the community and the game going. All right, that's all of our duty of care. So Mike has said, old guy returning to the game after many years. What's the top 3 Chaos Space Marine Iron Warriors units I should go for? I got all the new books. Okay, so Obliterators are going to be extreme. It's like I'm in a fish tank now, isn't it? Now the sun's gone in a little bit. Hang on, let me just open this up a little bit. That's better. So you're going to want a Chaos Lord. You're going to want probably a Master of Possession. You're going to want a Sorcerer, and a Dark Apostle. So they're 4 HQs that could work quite well. You're going to want some Cultists, and you're going to want some Obliterators. And when I say some, you want 3 at least, maybe 6. And then kind of whatever else, really. Like I quite like Chaos Terminators. I really like them. I think they sort of add a nice little control element. You got the Possessed, which are really good. You got the Lord of Skulls, very, very good. So 3 Lord of Skulls is devastating, especially as Iron Warriors. And then if you add a Lord Discordant in as well, horrifying. You could put a Khitan in, nasty. And then if you're picking from like the Vigilus of Blaze book as well, you can put them into a detachment. Gross. So there's some tasty options for you there, mate. So I haven't given you top 3. I've just given you loads to go away with. Wayne, how you doing? JW, how's things with you? Richard, can you explain how to use your Ultramarine list, please? Okay, so that's quite complicated, how to use the list, but basically it works off a triple threat situation. Repulsors from a long range threat. Okay, so I'm looking to, if I need to, outrange my opponent and do everything I can from range. Meanwhile, the aggressors are moving into position. Okay, so I got the repulsors and the suppressors giving me that long range fire support, while the aggressors move forward through terrain using all the cover they possibly can to then be like that next layer of defense. And then if my opponent's a combat army, they'll move closer. My repulsors will move up, back up the aggressors so they can all overwatch. If I feel like I'm going to get wrapped, then I'll use the suppressors in front of those, or maybe if I don't need the tanks, I'll just throw them out. Sometimes I counter charge with the tanks as well, because I know they won't die from one round of shooting, so then my opponent can't fall back and charge. So there's loads of different combos you can do with my Ultramarines list. It is very, very good. And once I've done the Blood Angels masterclass, I'll do an Ultramarines one as well, okay? And this will be an individual module showing you exactly how to use the army, okay? What to do in certain situations and matchups. And that will be completely free of charge for everyone that's on the academy already. And if you're not on the academy and you want access to that one module, then there'll be a fee for that, okay? So we've got, but this will be like, I'm kind of planning, you know, over the next 12 months when this will come out. The Blood Angels will be first, then we'll be doing Space Wolves. We'll probably be doing Tau quite quickly in Ultramarine. So they're going to be like our top 4 that are coming out first, because that's what we've got the armies painted and ready to do. And then I've also got, yeah. Oh, wow. It's wow. Wow. There is a lot of questions. Okay, so I'm, you know, going to try and find my place again. Evening, what are your thoughts on a 1500 point Blood Angel list? What would you drop from my 2K list? That's a tricky one, because I don't really play 1500. But if I was, I would drop my Vanguard Veterans, and I would probably drop 3 units of Scouts, and then maybe 1 unit of Sanguinary Guard. I don't want to do that. Do not want to do that. Yeah, I'll probably just do that. Is keep the rest though. Keep the rest. I might not need to drop the 3 units. Drop the 3 units of Scouts. Yeah, and the Vanguard Vets. I must be getting close to 500. There or thereabouts, anyway. I wouldn't want to drop any of the characters though. Maybe the Sanguinor. If I had to cut one, it's probably him. Yeah. The other 3 I think are essential though. Serenis said, do you think we actually need 9th edition or just an online database? I mean, I'd love an online database, I'm not going to lie. I don't think we need 9th edition. A quick cleanup of rules would be cool. Yeah, just a quick cleanup of rules. I would like keywords to be put in place, like a feel no pain to be called a feel no pain, rather than a disgusting resilience or this or that or whatever. I'd love it just cleaned up, you know, and I would like rerolls just to be cleaned up. So whether they're all hits or just failed hits, it's just the same wording throughout. Auras, I would love them to work the same, and I'll just love a little bit of a tweak on some of the ways they word it so it's less confusing, whether it's model or a model in a unit within or entirely or wholly, just some sort of like general, just you look at it, you know, right, this is that. Yeah, it's that thing that just operates like this in the game. Just something a bit cleaner would be great, I think. Night of the Day, rules question. When you use Honor the Chapter to fight again, it says it happens at the end of the fight phase. Is that for the unit's fight phase or the whole unit's fight phase? So when it says the fight phase, it means the entire phase, okay? So what it doesn't mean is when that unit's just fought, you can do it again. Unless it says it can immediately fight again, then that's a completely different wording. So at the end of the fight phase, when you're at that point, so everything's fought, so that can fight, then you can do it, okay? Now, if you fight and then pile into something new, and you're now within an inch, they can then activate. So they would still get to fight after that as well, okay? Loren said, when doing a Death Watch roster, it says a Vanguard vet may pick 2 items from the Vanguard vet equipment list. Can I pick the same item twice? For example, double bolt pistol. I believe you can, yeah. But you want to give him a Storm Shield. So just go Storm Shield, and I would probably now with the Vanguard vet go Thunderhammer and Shield. I'd probably run that. Because I typically found he was the last model to leave. I'd probably keep him to the very, very end. So giving him a Smash Hammer is great. So, yeah. Now with Shock Assault, a bit better. Failing that, then just give him a shield and bolt pistol. Yeah, because you're normally firing quite close with Deathwatch anyway. Well, as I said, ITC still play raw in every ITC tourney I've been to. I think it's more cinematic to be able to charge, but you are correct. It does differ from tourney to tourney. So I'm pretty sure the LVO, which is an ITC event, played it so that you can make that charge. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's how it worked. So remember, guys, that not a lot of tournaments and TOs will use the ITC format of missions, but they won't necessarily run the like the way that Frontline Gaming rules some of their clarifications, okay? Because they don't have the same referees. They don't want to get involved with all that side of things because they like Frontline Gaming. From what when we hopefully speak to Reese at some point, we can maybe ask him these questions because I think he's definitely the man to answer those questions. But yeah, it is the independent tournament circuit. So the whole, from what I gathered anyway, it's so that tournament organizers can run tournaments in their own way, but the players just score the points. All right. So it literally depends on your TO. And what I would say to them is, if you're unsure, if you're running a combat army and you looked at the terrain and you think, well, if they're just up there, then there's no point in me turning up, email them ahead of time and just say, here's a few of the bigger governing bodies for tournaments. They run their events like this because of the following. If I'm up against this situation and this happens, I may as well, I have no chance in the game. So it's not very competitive, it's not fair, and it's not equal. And then that goes against all sorts of gamesmanship principles. By which point, just either don't go. Like if you present your case to the TO and they're not having it, then the best thing to do is vote with your money and go, okay, I would like a refund on my place, please, because I don't believe this is going to be a fair competition. If that's what you believe, I'm not saying it is or it isn't, but that's your responsibility, okay? Don't let, if you feel like that's going to ruin your event, and don't go, Just get some mates around, play some games. Razul said, hey, I hope everyone is having a great one. JW, Night of the Day 33. The answer is at the end of the entire phase because your opponent's models don't get to hit you back otherwise. Stephen, I agree. Namaste from India, how you doing? I missed what he's asked us. I was talking about terrain, how if you thought I was right in terms of the way that we play things. Michael, I agree, but I'm afraid most people, e.g. in a Warhammer store, will refer to the rules as written. And if that's the case, like if that's the way they want to play, like literally ask them that same question in the same way that I've presented that to you is, dude, how do you want to win this game? Do you want to win it by just having completely unchargeable units? Because if you do, mate, cool, you can win. I'm off. And they're probably just going to go, or, go, okay, cool, we'll play it that way and get to the end of that and go, was that a challenge for you? No. Okay, cool. Did you enjoy that? And they'll go, well, not really. And you're going to be like, yeah, nor did I. So what was the point? If it was a challenging competitive game, you probably would have enjoyed it. I would have not just gone, okay, I'll roll some dice then. All right, cool, we done? Yeah, perfect. Pack up my models, see you later. Probably won't play you again, but thanks for the game. Again, it's all about finding those people in your circle that you like, and just have that same rational conversation with them. Now, this goes for all aspects of the game, okay? If there's anything you feel that, do not let anyone else's opinion, even mine, deter you from enjoying your hobby. And that's really important, okay? And I would love it if people, if I'm at the table and somebody wants to challenge me on something or have a debate with me, that's cool. Like, we can do that respectfully. That's just called respectful challenge. I think that's fine. Because again, I don't want my actions or opinions to impact somebody else's enjoyment of the same hobby. I appreciate that they want to get something out of that game. And again, it's really good to establish that ground rule or that understanding even before you put models down on the table, before you start that game. Let's outline your purpose and my purpose, and if it's the same thing, then we can work towards that common goal. If they rock up and go, yeah, I just want to win no matter what, and I'm going to be like, well, I just want to enjoy this game and have a fair game and let the best general win. You two have not got the same thought process. And that might be okay to a degree, unless it gets out of hand and you just go, cool, mate, if that's really what you want, I tell you what, I'm going to enjoy it more, sat in the corner, reading my book, or I've had it in the past where I've just gone, mate, have the game. I've got to go and do some work, because I'd rather do my work than play the rest of this game out. Because if they're just not going to budge on it, then yeah, play the game you want to play. Ryan has said, you've mentioned before that battle sanctums don't block line of sight, even though it's clearly a ruin and described as a terrain in the rules. Can you verify that battle sanctums don't block line of sight? So I think at the LVO, they specifically brought out an FAQ. And again, this is going to be tournament specific, but I'm pretty sure at the LVO they played a sanctum as not a ruin. It looks like a ruin. Like, this is my personal view. It looks like a ruin. It acts like a ruin, but it's not a ruin. So it's a bit weird. Yeah, so again, it's just up to the TO. And if you're running Sisters, I would just email ahead of time to the TO. How are you going to rule the battle sanctum? Is the bottom level going to block line of sight? If it does, cool. Get that email, run it. If they say no, if you can't find another use for it in your list and you don't feel like it's worth it, don't run it. But just bear in mind that it's one of those things that could be played differently. Austin Martin says, devil's advocate, with pretending charging models can be where they can't fit. For the Triumph from Catherine, would you then permit that gigantic base to end its charge halfway through a wall? Well, if the front of the base cam is and it's an infantry model, then I don't see why not. Yeah, because it's actually easier for that thing just to say, because although it's on a huge base, it's representing that they're all little characters and they all move together, right? So they would scale the wall, they would climb over the wall and be able to attack. So as long as the base can touch it and you make that charge, then yeah, I don't see why not. That's me personally. Like, if you were playing Sisters against me with it triumphant, I'll be like, yeah, mate, you carry on. Like, that's fine. Absolutely fine. Saul has said, unless your Quins get some significant help from Psychic Awakening, I got to think they are still behind the curve. They simply have too many bad matchups, aggressors or smites spam. Absolutely, mate. They do not like aggressors. They do not like those. Or smites. Nope. Stay well away from them. Zek has said, Lauren Burns, yes, it is the combination, unless it says you may only have one of. I'm not sure what you're referring to, but I'm sure you've answered that pretty well, Zaka. You normally do. Namaste from India. I think your room is a bit dark. Well, the thing is, if I open up all the blinds, I'm going to be hit with complete sunlight all over me. Then I get blinded by the lights, you see. JW, the smartest way to deal with raw intended FAQ is to discuss before the game on WhatsApp. Exactly. Absolutely. What I don't like is the whole, should we 50-50 it or roll a dice? No, because if you've got, the thing is, as soon as you get into a disagreement and you keep resorting on this, well, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that, no, that's not a way to resolve a competitive game, okay? Because that person is, they could potentially game the system and just go argue with it every point, and you'll go, and they'll say, oh, should we 50-50 it? Because we did that before. And you're like, mate, this is the 5th time now, and you've happened to roll a 4 every time. This is getting a bit much. Like, that happens. So best thing to do, grab a TO, get them over. What's the deal? And if they can't come to a conclusion, then probably don't turn up to their event again. Andrew has said, when in combat, does the model in your unit have to attack the closest enemy unit? Can I attack another enemy unit that I'm engaged with, despite some of the models being? Yes, you can, providing that. So you can have a model, right? There is a model here, okay? You can have it touching another model, but if your model is within an inch of one of your friendly models, that's within an inch of a model over here, he can actually fight that model and leave this unit alone. And that's a really good way to get off some of the most advanced wraps and traps in the game. I do that all the time with Blood Angels, okay? Andy said, I agree. It was how do I claim that rule isn't written, but you've answered the question. Tournament FAQ should clarify this, yeah. God's Eye Casual, hello Stephen, hope you're well. Any tips for running AdMech? Good units, auto include units. I love destroyers. I love a big unit of destroyers with plasma from Riser. I really like that. Robots are great. Shoot your robots. Infiltrators from Mars. They're good because they can really take advantage of their stratagem. Dailodus is great. Manipulus is great. Dragoons are great. No, some good options. The sniper rifles are good if you run lots of them, like 6. Just kill any character. Ugh, gross. Yeah. The Scorpiuses that can fire indirectly, they're great for their points. Gileo has said, what do you think about Iron Hand's Devastator Centurions with Apothecary, Spherios Sanctum, Chapter Master, and Chaplain Catechism of Fire support? Yep, very good. I would go Grav, because that Grav stratagem is horrific. Horrific. Unless you can't get the range, and I would go missiles and las cannons. So missiles on the chest, las cannons on the side, and just go, right, this is my anti-whatever killing unit, and just sit at the back 48 inches away, just going, pew, pew. Cheers, thank you very much. Yeah. You could even then run Grav Sent, not Gravs, but Grav Devs in a drop pod. And then you can make the most out of both. Turn 1, that drops down, Grav, boom. And then that little castle thing at the back, putting out some more Dakar from long range. You've got a couple of nice little threats there, mate. Razor said, I agree, but you should be able to fight like that. But GW almost rules against close combat being stronger than when they do an FAQ on errata. I don't know if I agree with that per se. They don't want it too overpowered, obviously, because combat is very powerful. Yeah. Primarily, just ordered myself the Golden Order. Any tips for painting all that gold without going mad? So, painting gold, what I would do is, I love my airbrush. I think that is it's an incredible bit of kit, the airbrush. And what I typically do with my airbrush is go for a black undercoat, then a zenithal highlight with white on the top, and then I'll thin down my gold, whatever, or copper, whatever color you like. And then what I'll do is basically with the lightest color, go over the top. So it sort of catches to the white and then blends down into the darker bits. And then with a darkened one, I'll go around the bottom and basically turn the model upside down and do that. So then the light gold catches on the zenithal highlight what you've done, and then the darker one catches from the bottom upwards, and then you end up with a really nice blended model, and it's super quick, super easy. That's exactly what I did with the Grey Knights. I used two types of silvers. And when I finally get that video edited, then because obviously I've been editing this PPE video that I'm doing voluntary, when I get the other one done, then you'll see how I did the silver, and it's kind of the same with the gold. Yeah, and that tends to work quite well. Matthew Chin, I agree. I've had that in the game before, and I just couldn't attack the top. Yeah, versus Riptide. It's just not cool, right? It's just, ugh. Yeah, I've been there. I have been there. Roy Ellis says certain units are universally undercosted. Could the use of such units add nuance be described as legal cheating, since it is explanation to determine fair play? Yeah, I mean, some units are like what you think either. Same for there's some units that are overcosted as well. You think, well, it's not really, never really makes the cut because it's just too much, or you know, that unit's really good for its points, or it's really efficient. So sometimes you end up paying for things that you really don't want, which is why I quite like Deathwatch, because you can upgrade as much or as little as you like. I really like that aspect. You're not paying for things. And I like the Sanguinary Guard, because if the golden face masks were added on as stock, that's an extra load of points you got to pay. And you're like, well, I don't really even want that -1 leadership. It's actually that goes against my list. Is it legal cheating? I don't think it's legal. It's not. I wouldn't classify it as cheating, because it's not like they are doing anything in terms of the game that you also cannot do. They're not gaining an unfair advantage because of the way that they've selected their army, because you were also able to select the same army and the same units. You chose not to. And obviously it takes a while for GW to realize this, get everything written up, printed, play tested to the new points cost, to then try and balance it, which is fantastic now with 8th edition, that we see these constant changes all the time. There's some Eldar units that are still, in my opinion, overcosted because of Ynnari and the way that used to work. And now they've just been left very ineffective, because they're still paying the Ynnari cost where they could double action. And now they can't do that. They're kind of like, well, there's just much better things to pick. So equally, on one hand, yes, it's good to have these. If there are undercosted units and you blend it with the overcosted ones, then you can still run all your favorite models and it roughly balances out. But yeah, it just takes time, really. Just takes time. JW, buys from eBay is fine, but support your local game store. Yeah, absolutely. Forge what is fair game to those LGs. Don't make anything from it. Also prepared to strip, as most models on eBay are terribly painted. Yeah. How do you store your models? Okay, so typically in battle foam cases or on glass shelves, as you can see over there. And I'm getting some new lighting, by the way. So yeah, that's typically how I do it. I would love everything in nice battle foam storage stuff, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, right? John's sent me an email about the Academy early in the week. I did see that yesterday. So I think Wednesday basically is my day where I just do nutrition coaching. So that's kind of like my day where I don't really do much Vanguard Tactics stuff. And then yesterday I wasn't feeling well yesterday. Kind of had I suffer from, sometimes I get migraines. So yeah, I suffered from one of those yesterday, and I just managed to work for about 3 hours, did the live. So I will get back to you after I've done this, mate. Okay. But I appreciate any emails that we ever get. So JW has Stephen, AL/WE melee. I don't know what that means. What would you recommend? I'm currently thinking about Red Butchers, Discordance, AL. Oh, Alpha Legion. Oh, okay. Right, Alpha Legion Berserkers. Some Alpha Legion Marines, some Apostle Sorcerer support, but I'm stuck as what else to do. I mean, the Possessed bomb's great. I really like Possessed. I think Alpha Legion bikes are great. Alpha Legion Terminators, Berserkers. Yeah, anything where you can start to stack on these minuses is going to be great, I think. Yeah, literally, my Alpha Legion list contains bikes, Terminators, Chaos Space Marines, and then I had a Scorpius tank in there, although I'm dropping him though, and then plenty of characters for some support. Yeah, it was a good little list, and then Obliterators as well. I liked them. I thought they did quite well for me. Very toolboxy army, actually. How many 1950 space robots from space have you seen competitively in an AdMech list? I've seen 6, but it's a point sink. I ran 6 in a test game. Didn't need 6. I ran 4. 4 was a Mars really good build, because you stick that stratagem on and you go, right, 2 are shooting that way, 2 are shooting that way, mortal wounds, everything. Yeah, deadly. Thomas has said, what do you think of the Vitrix Guard? Worth it? Oh, lovely models, but didn't make my list. Didn't make my list. Do you like company champions, though? They could make a very cool company champion. Ryan said, what are the worst matchups for Necrons to play against? Oh, I mean, Necrons have got anything with like 1 to 2 damage for their vehicles, like a lot of 1 damage. Like, they don't like autocannons, put it that way. Their vehicles do not like autocannons. Like, suppressors are a dream for those tanks, because it's unlikely with the quantum shielding they roll a 1 or a 2. And I think they're mainly toughness 6, so your shields are strength, your autocannons are strength 7, so you win on 3s. And then you're -3 or 2, depending on what phase you're in, and their save isn't amazing, so typically they fail their saves more often than not. So suppressors just, yeah, even the Stalker bolt rifles, you're wounding on 5, so because you've got a good high volume of fire, when they do go through, you tear it apart. And then anything in terms of to stop their regeneration, if you can start to wrap that unit up so it can't put any more models down as well, that's a really good way if you can't completely kill off the unit. So yeah, anything with like big bases like bikes and stuff, you know, loads of shoot, loads of decker, get in combat, do some more stuff, tie it up, wrap it, don't let it fall back, don't let any more models spawn near it. And then, yeah, unless they're running obviously like destroyers and tomb blades, which are a really good build actually for them. But yeah, for Blood Angels, if you would run double battalion with 6 units of incursors or 3 units of 3 scouts better. If you run double battalion with incursors, you just lose a lot of your punch. So the list kind of operates very differently. It's more of a kill denial list, but then you've only got, they're still easily killed. So you're better off running 3 units of 10 in that situation. If you want a kill denial list rather than, yeah, I run 3 of each, or I did. Then I moved it all to scouts, and now I'm thinking of a new list. But I'm not going to talk about that yet, because I need to test it before I start yabbering on about it. But yeah, literally whatever's your preference, I would go with. I really liked incursors. I think they're good. Especially, hello from Hungary. What is your current 2K army list? Well, my current one that I've been playing around with is 90 Harlequins. Yeah, it's pretty funky. Yeah, but competitively on the table, Blood Angels. That's my main army that I play competitively. Question: what is the Chaos Marine equivalent of Blood Angels? Don't know if they have one really. Maybe Red Butchers, like the World Eaters potentially. Yeah, probably them. But they just don't Blood Angel, you know. They don't have the characters like Blood Angels do. The supporting characters. RK Reptiles has said, if you take 27 Repentia, would you include a superior for each unit? No, just one. Just one, because he's going to buff them all up, don't worry. That'll be fine. As long as you move it correctly, as we spoke about on our coaching call the other day, you only need one mate in the way that, because I showed you how to deploy and everything. Hopefully you got the screenshots that I sent you of all the whiteboard stuff we went over. But yeah, if you move it like that, one should be enough to you just pivot off that one, okay? JW, when speaking to Reese, please do that Scars Tactica part with him. He seems the guy to go to, and Nick Navarrete. Yep. And also, there is, a couple of other really good White Scars players that we could potentially, I could reach out to and get on the show that I'm good friends with. So, yeah, see what happens. Zubatman EW said, after all, Warhammer is a gentleman's game. Yep. Yes, there are some rules and guidelines, but when going to competitive, but even when going to competitive, that's the point of winning. Just because you are cheesing, got to agree with you there, 100%. Yep. Michael said the Battle Sanctum is a fortification, not a ruin. Yep. Andy, a counterpoint. I'll put a counter in. There are loads of rules which are stupid. Take flame at Overwatch, not being able to do it if you are outside 8. But if in life you would run into the flames, you can't change the rules. You can't. No, like that is a very sort of different mechanic. And they've probably done that because it would make flamers far too strong if they always did it. You have to invest in getting a longer range flamer now. Okay. That's something that doesn't really change the outcome of the game, like compared to, I don't know, let's say you're playing on a table and they've decided to put down, what is it, a helicopter pad thing. I don't know what it's called. You know what I mean? Landing pad. Yeah, they've got a landing pad and they completely fill it with their army and they're stood up there like, cool, you can't charge us. And maybe there's an objective nearby that they can get and they can just get a hold. They don't need to get the hold more because they kill more and you can't do anything. And you're unable to play the mission the way you want to. And let's say for 5 turns of the game, they literally just smash you, move down, grab on some objectives, get hold more for turns 5 and 6. Yeah, that's game changing. Whereas because you can't charge a flaming unit, ain't going to make any difference to the game. So yeah, we got to think about what brings a fair outcome. Did you get your copy of White Dwarf yet? Excited to see your new take on Deathwatch. I haven't got it yet, no. I mean, is it out yet? I don't know. Death Jester with Curtain Fall and the strat is a screen clear. Changed my mind. I don't like it personally. I think it's a lot of investment for not much in return. Plus, you have to then go for that. You have to make him in that detachment. And with my list, it wouldn't work. Sombres, whatever it is. I don't know what it's called. I don't like that mask, so I run a different one with my style list and it just wouldn't fit. I don't really like little tricky things. I like, this is what my army does. It's going to hurt. Mr. Kilton, Slazbag himself is in the chat. How you doing, Slazbag? By the way, I am putting out our podcast. I'm actually going to turn it into a podcast as well. So it's going to be a podcast and a video. Yeah, I'm going to edit that this weekend, mate. So that'll be out for all things orcs related. Right, I'm going to wrap up in the next 5. John, cool, thank you very much. Hope you're feeling better today. Yeah, honestly, I had an early night yesterday. So what I did after our live, I went for a nice long walk, had some food, drank loads of water, and got an early night basically, and felt so much better this morning. Had a really good sleep, and I felt brilliant again. So I appreciate that. It's surprising what a good night's sleep can do, because the few nights previously I hadn't been sleeping very well. So it's just something that one of the problems that I'm having is because I'm inside a lot, same as all you guys. I'm lacking vitamin D, so I've actually started to supplement with vitamin D now. So I take about 3,000 to 4,000 IUs a day of vitamin D. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to walk at the same time that the sun sets, so it starts to reset my circadian rhythm. And I also have deleted all emails and social media off my phone so that I can only check it when I'm on my computer, which means that I'm not like, sometimes you just out of habit check your phone for stuff. Get rid of it. Just get rid of it. Like, social media does not need to be on my phone. Instagram is, because I can't use it anywhere else, but I don't find myself aimlessly checking that. Whereas, the whole lot is just on my computer. So if I need to check my emails or want to check my social media, I actually have to physically log on. Okay. And that's a really good advice, by the way, during this time of coronavirus. So that just helps me get away from the screens a bit. And then I can chill out before I go to sleep, and it's really helping. So I need to make sure I keep doing that. Yeah. Ross said, skip my question. Bro, I'm sorry. Where was your question? Oh, cool. All right, found it. Sorry, Ross. Hi, new to the hobby. I'm going Ultramarines and I have half the Dark Imperium box. Calgar, Aggressors, Redemptor, Dread, Invictus, Chaplain, and Libby. What else do I need to get next? So, mate, I would, if you want a big unit of 6 Aggressors, Suppressors work really, really well. Now, when you take anything, really, you want to make sure you've got lots of. Okay, so if you're going to run 1 Invictus, run 3. 1 Invictus isn't really going to do much for you. 3 Invictus could, okay? And don't with Imperial with Ultramarines, don't throw them away. Keep them back, okay? Keep them as like a nice little counterpunch unit, and maybe go for the heavier weapons on them rather than the flamers, okay? Like the autocannons, go for that option. Use them as little Dakar robots at your back. The only difference is the 1 Redemptor's okay. You don't need 3 of those because you can use the stratagem to -1 damage on him. But then things like Cassius is really good because he gets double litany. Tiggy's really good because you can make a unit -1 to hit. Like I said, suppressors are great, and I'd run 3 units of 3 suppressors. You want 1 jump pack lieutenant because then he can come down with the suppressors if you put him in reserve, and then he can take Seal of Oath, which gives you, say on that unit over there, I reroll all hits and all wounds against that 1 unit. So he can be an independent Calgar for the suppressors against one thing. Executioners are really good with the Ultramarines as well because they can move a full 10 inches, I think it is, their movement, and they can still double fire because they count as stationary. Okay, so there we go. That's when you're in their Super Doctrine phase. So hopefully that helps, mate. Ryan has said, I guess I wasn't clear with my question. Should TOs prevent the use of units that have been widely regarded as unfair, especially in excess, until changes are officially made by GW? Like, I think if TOs want to do that, then fair play to them. Like, the TO, if they feel like, okay, this one thing's real abusive, and I personally don't want it at my tournament, as long as you're advertising that well in advance, there's nothing wrong with that. If people choose to buy a ticket and come and don't complain about it, then it's fine. So I don't see a problem with that, no. But again, it's all down to a TO. They can do whatever they want. Literally, they do whatever they want to do. Thoughts on Wrath of Baal versus Icon of the Angel? I'm not sure what those are. I don't know what they are, mate. I'm not good with words, by the way. You'll notice about me. I'm not good with words. I'm good with what the stratagem or relic does, but I'm not good with, whatever. The names of things. In fact, when I read a stratagem, I skip the name, just look what it does. I can only retain so much information, so I have to select the information I want to do, yeah. Okay, so, right. Stop all questions now. I'm just going to quickly go through all these questions that we've got, and then I'll save them. Otherwise, you guys ain't going to have any questions for tomorrow, you know. I can confirm that the World Eaters are the trait equivalent of the Blood Angels, yeah. What do you do as downtime? Is it Warhammer 40k, or does it feel like work? I play a bit of COD now and again with my mates, like Jack and Mark. We play a bit of COD in the evening, and that's just more to catch up with my mates, really. That's kind of why I, like playing 40k. So what we've got here, Ron said, is the overlap between Fortification and Ruins per the rules of the Battle Sanctum is regarded as terrain, and times there was a greater differential between terrain and fortifications. Slazbag, I'm glad you're doing well, mate. See you, Stephen. Another great Q&A. Going to do some exercise and get my walking daily hour. Good man. Jay Word has said, thoughts on running Fenrisian Wolves with my Primaris Root army. Are they worth taking as a screening unit? Maybe outflanked with Auto Bolter Intercessors. I haven't really seen much of them, to be honest, to know what they do. They're just going to, in an ITC format, they're going to give away very easy kills. So be aware of that. If you're not playing ITC and the kill more doesn't matter too much, yeah, sure, have a blast with them. But yeah, depends. I did the same with social media apps. Just get rid of it. It's going to change your life, honestly. Get rid of social media. Only have it on the platforms you enjoy. Like YouTube's fine, so you don't endlessly scroll YouTube. I mean, I don't anyway, but yeah. Tay said, am I able to see your updated Blood Angel list? Yeah, I still need to email that out, but I'm going to talk about it on the Blood Angel Masterclass. That comes out probably, give me 2 weeks for that, because I'll need to film it all, edit it all. So a couple of weeks, and that module will be ready for people to check out to see how I use my army. It's literally going to be, I'll show you turn by turn what I do in certain situations and matchups on the table. Yeah. Ross has said, thanks, man, brilliant, no problem. How do you feel about obliterating Emperor's Children army using Endless Cacophony of Deep Strike? Yeah, sounds good. I like that a lot. Andy, thank you for going in depth with my question. Not a problem, mate. Not at all. Tay, thanks. Great live show as always. Guys, honestly, thanks for all your feedback. And yeah, it really means a lot to me. So I will catch you guys tomorrow. You have a great interview with me and Rich to listen to tomorrow. I'm so excited for getting that one out, and it'll be a little bit of a different format because me and Rich didn't do a better the meta and we didn't ask any questions, so we won't have those aspects. It's just a good hour-long show of me and Rich chatting some all things orcs and me picking his brains basically. But there's some really good advanced elements in there if you're an orc player, because Rich is the man when it comes to orcs. Yeah, and it's just super funny as well, so it'll be a good little Saturday video for you guys to watch. Anyway, guys, take care, and I'll see you tomorrow at 6. See you later.